everybody, welcome back to another Racerman Extreme video, and I just want to sincerely thank every single person that has ever worked on Jaguar City, as well as everybody that will arrive in the future to help out. Jaguar City has been going strong for 10 years, so let's have a look back at the amazing progress, and if you want to be part of it, information will be in the description below. The year was 2014. I was merely a 12-year-old kid when I first picked up Minecraft for the PlayStation 3. My first world resembled what you'll see in just a moment. I pulled the literal plug on my first world after a field trip to Myrtle Beach. I panicked and renewed my PS Plus before realizing my PS Plus subscription never actually saved any Minecraft data. Sadly, this meant my world was lost forever. Fortunately, I remembered the seed name, so I generated replica terrain. And this is the final version with restorations from 2017 onward. Later in 2014, I went back and griefed things made by people I was mad at. Though, I think it was a good thing I came back to this world. Because by then, Jaguar City had already started. I joined a world one day that was super flat and started building, I think it was a house. I also had some other friends building their first city worlds as well. And this sparked something in me, an idea that would change my life. I started a new world called Paradise City. It was an ambitious project, and it looked like this after just 2 months. The streets were named after various Guns N' Roses things like band members, albums, and songs. I eventually renamed it to Jaguar City during this time. My friends built some stylish homes, whereas I continued to build my old-fashioned way, but with garages this time around. Thanks in part to my friends, we managed to make it look like this by July 24th, 2014. Earlier that month, we had incorporated the city texture pack and had made enough progress to the point where I had to build a giant tower on top of my house in order to get clear PS3 voice chat. It wasn't long after that we discovered certain blocks like brick lagged more than blocks like stone. I sent this very copy to my friend to hopefully combat the lag with his better internet connection. But unfortunately, we still had to rebuild stuff. This was only the beginning of Jaguar City, and even more ambitious projects would emerge soon. But first, let's stop on the date, August 21st, 2014. This was the day I made an archive before embarking on a massive build, and you'll notice that we changed some of the appearances of builds. For those that have been playing my world, we all know what goes in this spot. The Jaguar Company World Headquarters. A lot of new stuff would have first appeared by now, and the city was heading in a positive direction. Within 3 days later, I started the massive Jaguar Co World Headquarters, and it looked like this. You may have noticed that there was another build with JCWHQ written on the front of it. That would be the old one. And the fancy black wool building with the oak planks also went along with it, and soon they would be torn down and replaced with the newly built monster of a building that is the new Jaguar Co World Headquarters. Behind the scenes, I've had my PS Vita since 2013. It came with a year of PlayStation Plus that I mentioned at the very beginning. I played Unit 13 a lot and some other stuff, but soon, October rolled around and I got my hands on Minecraft PS Vita Edition free of charge because I digitally owned the PS3 version. It was actually pretty cool. I could take Jaguar City anywhere I wanted. And about a year after it came out, I discovered that for every time I left PS3 to play PS Vita, the copy that was moved to Vita was up in the PS3's cloud. This is because coming back to PS3 meant a new hard copy of the world that wouldn't get overwritten. Things were great during this time. The world looked like this. The Jaguar Co. world headquarters was finished on the outside for the time. We also continued building new stuff and furnishing others. It was a fun time. It was my last year of middle school, that painful time for everybody that wasn't quote-unquote popular. But one thing was going good for me during the painful middle school year. At the end of the year, who couldn't wait to get their hands on a shiny and glossy new PS4? I mean, the PS4's library was mature enough to include Minecraft by now. I was one of the lucky kids to adopt the PS4 platform just 1 year after launch. But there was a catch. I paid $5 to upgrade from PS3/Vita to PS4, and I did get to keep all 3 copies at that point. But for some reason, they decided to update the old generation before updating PS4. Horses and other neat things arrived on last gen, but I had to wait until after the new year to get the PS4 edition update. So the waiting game began as I explored GTA 5 in 1080p for the first time. And finally, it happened. During the first week of January, I managed to move this to PlayStation 4. My house would never look like this again. The world was finally able to be expanded. This was the start of Jaguar City on a new console generation. Everything would evolve from this point onward. Nothing was safe from being left alone. This was the start of everything we know and love today, thanks to the power of the PS4. Trademark. By July 24th, 2015, we had made it this far. Featuring a poorly built football stadium, new blocks to make my house look even more posh than ever, and expanding on what we started last gen, Jaguar City was starting to take shape. New roads, new houses, new business, new towers? An amusement park? Yep. We also started expanding into things like tall buildings, another rich person mansion that's made of gems and other stuff. We were kids having fun on GTA 5, Minecraft, Gran Turismo, so what more did you expect? We just kept going at a pace fit for the time, but I'm just glad we kept going. As we approached the end of the year, Jaguar City hit a fork in the road. On October 19th, 2015, a copy of the world was somehow preserved. Did you really think I wasn't going to narrate this? All I can say for now is we'll come back to this later. We ventured on like nothing was wrong. And as we approached the December 2015 Minecraft update, the world looked like this. I was now on the Christmas break of my freshman year. Many new people had played the world over the course of 2015 and left their marks. We also start seeing hints of what Jaguar City would become later on if we look more carefully at the new styles of builds. But suddenly, something catastrophic happened. The new update left my world on its hands and knees, begging for mercy. I had no other choice but to go back to the fork in the road by reverting to October 2015. We were devastated that 2 months were ripped out from under us. More on that later. And before I knew it, July 2016 was upon us. As you'd expect, the city started to look like it had been around for a hot minute. New neighborhoods, new styles of home, and everything we were on track for started to pop up. But the city was still not quite right. We'll come back to that thought, but for now, let's keep going with what else is around. Deeper lore and better builds that I made by myself. To start with the lore, Jaguar Company is the name of my roleplay business. I haven't mentioned the purpose of it, so allow me to do so. Ever since pre-Minecraft roleplay, we all had rich companies that owned stuff on the scale of Apple and Microsoft. We wanted to live the high life in whatever game we roleplayed on. Minecraft was no exception, hence the giant brick mansion that is now made of diamond and lapis lazuli. Jaguar Company was supposed to be the biggest one, for I'm the creator of the roleplay. But for the first time, we started to see more companies challenge Jaguar Co. And that's why you see NASCAR's company NT everywhere. He was a talented builder that joined us in late 2015. To this day, I still wonder where he went. Perhaps if this video hits the trending on YouTube, he'll reach out to me on Discord. Last I heard, he's doing Roblox. Also, NASCAR, if you're watching, please send me Sandton if you still have it, so we can preserve that wonderful city we were making alongside Jaguar City by pasting it into Jaguar City. If it wasn't for your motivational criticism that I misunderstood at the time, I wouldn't have ever aged out of my old build style. And trust me, I have the tools to put your city into my world. Time carried on, and I was approaching the beginning of a truly modern era of Jaguar City. If you've noticed, Jaguar City had its forest-like state park during this look back at 2016, but that was the extent of the tree population. Throughout the city, there's this emptiness I've noticed as I reflect on this incredible year. And this is what I alluded to earlier. By the time July 24th, 2017 came around, it was solved. A few months before this, I made my famous clickbait rant about a GTA 6 YouTuber, and it garnered 250,000 views before the guy decided to block it. And in the background, I was working towards what you see here. Gone were a few of the things standing in my way of making Jaguar City truly beautiful. Like, for instance, the amusement park, and a few ugly homes that former friends of mine made. It wasn't much, but the city definitely felt more complete now that new homes could be built in the place of the old roller coaster, and I did manage to put better looking homes into the world. I also started my dream ambition that's still not done. I wanted to make a Cliche grid city district in the north part. You'll notice a few other landmarks make their first appearance. New apartments, a new concert hall, a new movie studio, and more. As for that weird emptiness, you'll notice that from above, trees fill in all of the gaps. I did this because it changes the entire vibe of Jaguar City and makes it feel way more complete. I do want to apologize to Ashley Smashley7 on PlayStation Network for making her rebuild her own house at the beginning of 2017 due to griefing. I decided too much progress had been made over the couple days since it was griefed to go back and save her house with an archive. She ended up rebuilding it, and she finished a few other homes to add to her builder's resume. She helped with making Jaguar City finally feel modern. Thank you so much, and I hope you're watching, and drop a comment if yes, because I have a surprise later on. Also, I'd like to note that during 2017, I was able to recreate the old Jaguar Co. World Headquarters in the black wool and oak plank distribution center building from 2014. Time carried on as we headed towards July 2018. Everything I had started in 2017 to make Jaguar City feel more professional was finally coming to fruition. And while all of that stuff was going on, there was another story unfolding. So as we look back at July 24, 2018, let me tell you about that story. On July 1st, 2017, I started playing this version of GTA 5 on computer called FiveM. And by August, I found my roleplay home and started a new set of stories. I was a bit shy at first, but after my first time going to jail as a mute, I decided to become a police officer. I was just old enough by now that I wouldn't get banned. And by this time a year later, I had moved on to my own FiveM project named after the roleplay we had been doing on console, including Jaguar City, called City Life. It had been about 5 years since we started doing the roleplay we did called City Life, so of course I was going to use it for my first FiveM server name. The city world continued into December when I finally modernized a few imperfections of the world you've been watching up until now. And I'd like to show you February 2019 specifically. This is the last version of the world I'd have on hand until November. I forgot to do my yearly July 24th copy. So let's run through this real fast. We continued as normal. New homes, furnishing existing stuff, and more. And this is the last version before this little update to PS4 edition came out called Better Together. I had problems moving it to the new version of Minecraft, and even met a few people on the bug reports tracker. Eventually I fudged together a way to move the world, but let's take a moment to reflect on the last ever purely hand-built copy of Jaguar City that ever will exist for the rest of time. Everything you see here had no involvement with commands. It had 1000% involvement with passion, hard work, friends, and I could not be more proud of it. I managed to accomplish so much between starting my last year of middle school and the time of getting my first job just 2 months prior. It was absolutely incredible. As I ventured into the new Bedrock experience as a PS4 user, things left incomplete here because of the lack of human help to speed things up were no longer a concern. I knew that if I could do this by hand, I could do anything. I could make anything I wanted possible. I could make anything anyone else ever wanted possible. Gone were the limits. A new beginning had arrived for PS4 users, including myself. And after several months, July 24th, 2020 arrived. And this is what the world looked like. Some progress seemed a bit backwards. Part of my fudging together a way to move Jaguar City from Legacy to Bedrock came at the cost of losing certain small/unimportant things in favor of keeping my mansion and the rich neighborhood nearby, where some of the homes date back to the 2014 save data as you saw at the beginning of the video. FiveM had consumed my life by now, along with college and work, but I didn't stop. I kept going. I built this beautiful home, and I used commands to fill in some of the areas lost due to fudging together, setting me back a bit. Progress would stay slower from this point onward, and while that seems sad because so far this is the story of a kid that lost the too much time on his hands trait, it really isn't. Because I could finally put my world on PC sometime between 2020 and 2021, new ideas would surely come about, and sure enough, they did. In a bit of a in phases way. Let's start with the phase of ideas that happened more or less behind the scenes. If it wasn't for my experimentation and my passion to keep going, I probably wouldn't have this data either. In mid-2023, my 6TB hard drive from 2016 onward had died. And that's why you won't be seeing July 24th, 2022. Well, that, or I forgot to save it like it's 2019 again. But as you can see from experimentation and my passion to self-teach myself new things, I recovered this copy from Java Edition. I had moved my world to Java Edition now that I was free to do whatever I wanted with the data on PC. And this was only the start of the experimentation happening behind the scenes. I promise this is relevant. Now let's move back to the world progression's next phase. The actual progress of Jaguar City from July 2020 to July 2021. My dream to have a Cliche city world was finally starting to become a thing. I sourced many builds from other worlds and started my copy-paste habit to fill in the space I had always wanted to see full of tall buildings. I will never take credit for anything I didn't build. Some of them were ripped from another world, most notably Los D'Angeles by Dan Lags. I also finally put a real airport on the east side of the map, where the tarmac of what would have been my own airport was planned to go just a year prior. I also removed my personal airport from my backyard and made it more of a social space for live music. The world seemed a bit too flat, so after more experimentation later that year, I finally came up with the future of Jaguar City. And by January 2022, I had this. This is one of the only surviving copies from the entire year of 2022. It highlights exactly what I meant by continuing to experiment. Newly created terrain through a process of pruning and changing the chunk generation metadata is all it took to reimagine Jaguar City. That and some terraforming. Without true love for Jaguar City, it would be limited to solely being a flat world, even today. I worked and worked and worked on the world over the next year and a half, but not nearly as much as my FiveM server. That was a newborn baby in terms of how much attention it got compared to Jaguar City, a project that was sufficiently grown up already and needed less and less care from me as time went on. I could have stopped at any point between 2019 and now, and it would still wow people. But do you really think I'm gonna settle? Of course not! I kept going and kept going, but FiveM was still eating away at my time along with work. Between October 2022 and June 2023, I had left my old job to do a comparable one, and after getting sick of the commute, I went back to my old job, and I've been back ever since. If you've noticed, the pace of the video truly reflects how the time spent on Minecraft has flown by, with each passing year going faster and faster. There's less to talk about, but more to look at. Minecraft is still a game I enjoy playing. However, FiveM continued to consume me. But at the start of January 2024, everything I had ever known was suddenly put aside, for I had become incredibly ill. I was hospitalized for 9 days and battled the recovery process until March. My FiveM passion had been broken as I recovered for a few weeks at my parents' house, but it fought back at being ignored. I eventually gave FiveM one last chance. April rolled around and it finally came to the point that many people started to stab me, betray me, and seek out their own destiny. And for the past few months, I finally put FiveM aside in favor of Jaguar City. And this is present day. Jaguar City has been with me since 2014. I learned to build better. I learned commands. I learned, and I learned. And the best things in life are the things we take for granted. Many people nowadays are skeptical of what Minecraft has become, and they think that they've outgrown it or it's evolved too much. Well, I disagree with them. And a lot of looking back videos tend to cover the survival aspect of Minecraft, not the stuff I've been focused on for a decade. Some people are upset that Minecraft got updated textures, while I've been using the city texture pack the entire time. As I get older, I hope one day to pass this off to my kids, to let them continue the legacy of Minecraft in Jaguar City. It was only right that I make a documentary to celebrate its first big milestone, the first double digits age. I want to do roleplay the way I used to because it was simply more fun. Anyone and everyone is invited, there's no limit for what's next. Perhaps I move to Java full-time in favor of having a large server, or maybe I'll just keep hosting on the Realm until realms are discontinued. Who knows? But I sure as heck know that for however long Minecraft lives on for, Jaguar City will forever be Jaguar City, and nothing will stand in my way to keep going. I'm going to keep building new surrounding areas, paste other people's cities like Los Angeles, and make Jaguar City a universe of my own. I'll never put a price on any of it. I'll never take credit for anything I didn't make. And I'm going to stay true to myself because without that, Jaguar City would have been left behind. And even if Bedrock Edition is inferior to the purists, there's only one thing that Bedrock has going for it: accessibility on all platforms. Perhaps when PlayStation and other places allow custom servers, I'll think about making it Java and Bedrock compatible. But until then, I prefer the concept of better together. The next decade has a lot in store for me. I may go back to FiveM at some point, or the joke 6M will finally come out for GTA 6 if it actually launches. I definitely want to see myself doing better in life than where I'm at now, but I'm happy with myself, and I'm happy with Jaguar City. I'm happy with how things are going for me, and I'm most of all happy that Jaguar City is an incredible way to make new friends. And as we enter the future of Jaguar City, I can't wait to see what people contribute. We're definitely in for a ride.